Hey, how's it going? I'm just waiting for a certain amount of people to show up. Until then, guys, you can already ask whatever you want. Should be focused on magic if you can, but you can ask me really anything, right? So just feel free to ask whatever the fuck you want to know. Right? Just try to provide some value here. Hmm. So what's up, guys? Any questions that you have? How's it going? How's it going? I hope you all been practicing magic. Have you all been practicing trying to manifest things and create effects in your life? E Marie, what's up? How's it going? Where are people? Why are people leaving here? What's going on? Guys, ask questions. How's it going? Where are you from? Where are you tuning in from? Which of the 72 Indigo Goesha have you worked with? Every single one of them. Every single one of them I have worked with. Every single one of them. Um, we got somebody from Georgia here, Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia. Hmm. I think when I was a kid, there was this TV show on that was called Savannah. It was kind of like a soap opera. Really, I never watched it. I remember Savannah, but I think that's where it played. That's where it was located. Savannah in Georgia. Well, nice to have you here. How's it going? Which of the 72 Goetia spirits have you worked with? Yeah, every single one, my friend. And I recommend that if you do that, first of all, I don't recommend anything. I give information. Okay, I'm not responsible for any of your actions. All I do is basically educate people. All right. So here's how I would do it. If I had never worked with the Goetia, I would not look at the description of the spirits. Okay, I would try to evoke the spirits and then communicate with them and see what you get in terms of like hearing and seeing. Okay, and then you can compare notes. All right. Um, so I think the very first one that I worked with might have been um, it might have been Belith. I think the very first one that I worked with was Belith, right? And I would see like a wild cat, right? I would see like wild cat, and then I looked at the grimoire, and I think he was. I think in the grimoire they describe him as this cat figure, right? So first of all, you have to know that the current Goetia, or as it is used by most people, the description of the spirits and the imagery, they're they have been written down by Aleister Crowley for the most part. Okay, so Aleister Crowley is the source of most of those descriptions that you will find these days, and that's highly subjective. Okay, Paimon, for instance, looks nothing like what you would see in that grimoire, at least to me. Now, there's a very subjective element to it as well. Okay, so people see these spirits very subjectively because they're looking at different aspects, or their energy tunes into different aspects of those spirits. But the bottom line is, don't be too focused on the visuals. So Um, you should be able to see, but more than that, the information that you receive, is that usable? Can you use that information? That's really the only thing that makes sense. And does the ritual cause the changes that you want? Right. So these are the two factors that matter. E. Marie is from London, living in Oklahoma now. Oh, nice. How does why would why would somebody move from London to Oklahoma? I'm not judging. I'm just curious. Why would somebody do that? Oklahoma. Did you get married or something like that? Did you move for love? Because no offense, I just don't know what would pull somebody from an exciting city like London into Oklahoma. Just don't know what. And when I say exciting, London, it's not really, not that the whole city is exciting. It's really just like, I mean, often London feels like really spread out and like a small, many small towns inside of a very big town and a big city. That's what it feels like often. Um, all right, Mookie says that's intense. Are there any in particular that you would not recommend summoning? Uh, hmm, no, not really, not really. I mean, if you're gonna use that grimoire, you might as well call up all of them. Why not? Hello, OG. What's up? My official title is the OG of Sorcery, the Bronze Dawn, the King of the Ring. Certainly not a martyr. Your favorite sorcerer. Okay. So from now on, I demand to be to be called upon with my official title. Guys, you can evoke me with this title, okay? You can evoke me with that with this incantation. I call you OG of Sorcery, the Bronze Dawn, King of the Ring. Certainly the martyr, your favorite sorcerer, right? So that's the incantation that you need to call upon Aurelius Sopax, favorite sorcerer. All right. Um, how can you tell if people have binded themselves to your destiny or chakras, etc.? Yeah, that doesn't work. Um, okay, let me try to unwind this. How can you tell if people have binded themselves, or I don't think that's the right word. Have bound. I think that's the right word. Have bound themselves to your destiny or chakras, etc. Um, I wouldn't describe it like that. Okay, so if somebody puts a spell on you, they don't bind themselves to your energy body. That's not how it works. They affect your energy field in a certain way. So how do you know that? Well, that's a slippery slope because oftentimes it could be something that you just imagine or make up. Of other times it's right. I mean, the best way to really figure that out is you go to a professional and they divine that for you. They do a divination for that. Okay, and then they can also remove that potentially. Uh, Bierhoff says he's from Dominica. Yeah, welcome. Nancy, four red. Okay, I don't know what that means. All right. Just got done hitting the punching bag. What do you prefer? Meditation before exercise or exercise before meditation? Exercise before meditation. Why? Because it relieves a lot of stress. And if that stress is gone, you have an easier time relaxing. Yeah. My life is a bit of a mystery, even for myself. It's what's drawn me to your channel. Oh, really? Okay. My mom gave me up in the late 80s, and I was adopted by American citizens who brought me to the States. Okay. I'll have to send you a personal message. It's hard to explain. Yeah, okay. Well, send it please to through the sites, okay? Support at Grill of the Serpent. That would be best. What chakras to work on besides the main seven? Um, I would focus on those two. Okay, they're important they support the heart chakra. They're one here, they're around the shoulders. The ones in the hands and the palms, because that helps you with directing energy. And the feet are so important, man. Almost nobody pays attention to the feet and the toes. Okay, feet and the toes, very very important energy centers. Um, you know, there are so many meridians that are locked in the feet. Listen, if you want to give your organs a massage, that's very hard to do from the outside, right? But if you wanna give your organs a nice treatment, get one of those balls, and the spiky balls, the balls with spikes, and you just massage the bottom of your feet with those spikes, and that's gonna activate a lot of meridians inside of your body. That's something that in the modern world we don't get that much because we're wearing shoes and shit. But in nature, without shoes, we will constantly have the stimulation at the bottom of our feet, right? And that is important to activate the energy inside of our meridians. Okay, and without that, you actually don't have energy flowing correctly through you. Um, have you ever heard of a type of spell that allows people you can't see to talk to you? There are spells for everything. There's spells for literally everything. So yeah, I mean, you can create a spell like that. You don't need to look for spells like that in spell books. How come when I astral project and try to speak to the beings I see, they're always incoherent and don't appear to be real beings? Don't appear? Is that what you're trying to say? Don't appear to be real beings? Um, Look, the solidity of your energy body determines the solidity of your experiences on the other side. So when your energy body becomes very solid, you have stability, and therefore there's a clear and consistent transmission from the other side. If your energy body is not stable, you're going to get unstable experiences. You see, this is uh, this is something that has to be built up. Your energy body is the body that you perceive with on the other side, and it has to be built up. It's not just there. It has to be trained and it has to be built up. And the more stability it has, the more stable your connection to the other side, and the better you're going to see and hear and perceive things. And you're able to to travel astrally and stuff like that. That's something that needs to be worked on. That's a skill that you need to work on. You see, it's not something that just happens like that. It's something that you build up. So it's a reflection of your own instability of your energy body. See, if you can't have one pointed focus, if you can't keep the mind still, you're going to have a hard time getting anything consistent from the other side. You see, this is a skill. It needs to be worked on. It needs to be earned. Okay, I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. And for a very long time, it was not as good as it is right now. But I've been doing this for a very. It's like everything else. See, this is something I have to give you guys. I have to tell you guys seriously. If you want to get really good results in magic, and if you want to, this is not some hobby, if that makes sense. Okay, this is something that you have to make your path. When we talk about purpose, when we talk about meaning of life, your spirituality and your spiritual growth and your spiritual development has to be the meaning of your life. There can be no other. This is not something that that you do like a hobby and then can expect um, results with it. You know, it's not something that you dabble in. In order to get the real juice out of it, you must make it your path in life. So you live it, you breathe it. You are a magician. That's what that means. Is someone's guardian angel the same as their holy guardian angel that Crawley talked about? No, completely separate, separate topics, separate objects. Okay. Um, no, someone's guardian angel is more like a Christian concept. It's a real concept though that a guardian angel actually exists, but it's very different from Crawley's holy guardian angel. Okay, Crawley was talking about the holy guardian angel in the context of uh, maybe the OTO system and also partially in the Golden Dawn, even though they had beef, and his own order, the Astrum Argentum, okay, the Silver Star, that was Crawley's own Thelemic order. So bottom line is, no, they're different concepts. The holy guardian angel that Crawley talked about is essentially is more like what is the holy guardian angel? It's more like a being that you become possessed by, and it is usually an interdimensional alien that you get possessed by at that point. Yeah, so that's Crawley's holy guardian angel. I mean, Crawley's goal was to bring about the apocalypse, right? And what is the apocalypse? The apocalypse is ripping space time so much through spiritual contact and through bringing these entities here. We rip apart space time and this reality so much so that these other beings from the other side can come through. And in the process, this reality is destroyed. That was Crawley's whole goal at the end of the day, right? Uh, Tips on stabilizing the energy body. Yeah, you use it, man. You use it. What tips do you have for having a stronger physical body? You exercise it. What do you do in order to have guns like this? Okay, what do you need to do in order to have to have guns like? I'm kidding. I'm kidding right now. But what do you do in order to strengthen the physical body? What do you do to strengthen the physical body? You train it. You use it. What do you do in order to become smarter? You use your brain. You use your intellect. You what do you do in order to what you use, what you train becomes stronger. It's just what it is. And the same with your energy body. Now, what strengthens your energy body? It's concentration exercises. It is using your visualization. It is you trying to do magic. Try to do magic. If you try to do magical stuff all the time, you know, what very few people do is really train for psychic abilities. Psychic abilities need to be developed, and they very few people really train for that. And that's really what it's all about. And get Magic Mentor. Get Magic Mentor on Grail of the Serpent. You get the all the lessons, 280, I think, are in there. Just get that. Just get that whole thing, and you will be shown all the exercises that you need to train your magical abilities, to build up magical skills. Okay, psychic abilities. Okay, is someone's guardian angel? Okay, I got that one. Brother Frank, serious question. Is uh, 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 uh. Bro, I'm never ever gonna talk about this shit on YouTube. You know why? That's no, no comment about this topic. No comment. Um, Some books you recommend that impacted your spiritual growth drastically. Yeah, the Zen in the Art of Archery. That was one of the biggest. Most books on Buddhism, for some reason, always like they always catch me. There's like Zen Buddhism and stuff like that. Even the Tibetan stuff. But for me, it's I don't know why it's Zen. Zen Buddhism, which is the Japanese tradition or a Japanese tradition of Buddhism. I mean, Buddhism at the end of the day comes from. I mean, if you really trace it back, it all comes from India, right? But it's all Asia. So from India, it moved into the teachings moved into China, and from China it spread into other Asian countries. Um, so the Japanese version of it, Japanese iteration is Zen. There are others too, okay, like Shinto and all these other things. But the bottom line is, for me, Buddhist scriptures, for some reason, always they're always very impressive. They always like do something for me. I don't know why. Actually, I know why, but yes, that's not. Yeah. So Buddhist scriptures, mm, and with a lot of those scriptures, it's okay if you don't go for the original right away. They're often very old, and it's very hard to be a person in the 21st century and to still be able to like fully, um I don't know, to make it something that you can use in this day and age. So it's okay if you use a book that interpreted it, right? There are a lot of books out there that help you interpret this message and bring it into present time, and there's no shame in getting a book like that, so it helps you access that stuff. The same with literature, by the way. A lot of literature in terms of, or philosophy, lots of philosophy. um, I don't think it's a good idea to be a complete beginner when it comes to that stuff, and to start trying to interpret Nietzsche by yourself, like with no help. Or same with things like Plato, Kant, Aristotle, um, Hume, Descartes. All of these things. Those are very very complex systems of philosophy, and there's no shame in finding an author or a book that helps you interpret those things. It gives you a little bit of orientation, because it's these writings are hundreds of or thousands of years old. So there's no shame in trying to make it easier. It's an access point. Why not? And with time, you're going to learn how to do that yourself as well. So at one point you're not going to need it anymore, but in the beginning you need an interpreter, like me, kind of like me right now. I'm an interpreter of the occult stuff for you right now. I interpret that stuff, and hopefully it helps you. Brother Frank, serious question. I got that one. Which are your recommendations on working with angels, and how can I start? Well, with angels, you automatically work in a Kabbalistic context, okay? Because angels only make sense in a Kabbalistic concept, or in a Kabbalistic reality matrix. So, what I would recommend is that you start with the Kabbalah, Tree of Life. The mystical Kabbalah by Dion Fortune is very good. Okay, Dion Fortune, the mystical Kabbalah. Get that one, and then learn about the esoteric context of working with the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, first and foremost, is the oral part, or the oral tradition of Jewish mysticism, right? So Kabbalah can be used in different ways. Okay, it can be used, well, for gematria. Okay, gematria would be, you use numbers to you use numbers that you ascribe to words or letters, and based on that you try to understand the universe, because it is, if every letter is equivalent to a number, you can then give numerical values to certain words. Okay, and based on that you can identify them or locate them on the tree of life. Okay, so you break down the name of something into a number between 0 and 9, and doing that allows you to locate that thing on the tree of life. Okay, and that gives you the essence of that thing. All right, and by doing that, it is believed, and you can do that. It is believed that you can figure out the secrets of the universe by just doing that. Okay, by analyzing the whole universe and life in the world based on gematria. Okay, that would be one way to use the Kabbalah and the tree of life. And there's another one. There are actually three. I'm just going to mention one other, which is basically the what we would use it for. It's essentially occult work, magic, witchcraft. And in that context, Kabbalah would be spelled with a Q in the beginning. It's Qabalah. Okay, and in that context, Kabbalah becomes a tool to contact the angels. And the angels, they belong to the different spheres on the tree of life. And you contact each archangel and you learn about the mysteries of that sphere on the tree of life, and hopefully master that energy within yourself and in the external world. And that's how you grow step by step by step. So my recommendation would be you learn about the Kabbalah first, you learn about the tree of life, and then you evoke the angels that are the rulers over the different spheres on the tree of life. Yeah. Can you access full DNA just by holding your intention for a long period of time, or is there more to that? You should check out the Merkaba meditation if you want to go that direction. You should check out the Merkaba meditation. It's definitely the right thing for you to check out. All right. Does humanity evolve into the astral mental planes? No, it's more like a. It's more about integration, if that makes sense. Okay, so the journey of consciousness, so the expansion of consciousness leads to the following experience. Okay, so your consciousness is, mm, let's say right now you're awake. Okay, so your consciousness right now is mainly focused on 3D reality around you. Right. When you go to sleep, your consciousness is mainly in the dream state, which is just another frequency. It's a different realm. You have different laws there, you know, but it's the same consciousness that just awakens at a different frequency. Boom. And then there are other frequencies as well, other states of being, and you can experience those. Now, the process of spirituality allows you to connect to connect them and to integrate them, so you can operate at multiple levels all at once. So I would say, and this is like I have no proof for that, but this is like my personal uh, vision for humanity's future, where we're going to be able to integrate all of those levels, where basically teleportation becomes a real thing, where basically the mind or the consciousness goes into 4D or 5D and transports to a different physical location, and the body follows. Okay, it's almost like you take the spirit somewhere and the body follows there. Okay, and would require the a change of the vibration of the physical body, but not that much. And the planet is speeding up anyways. The vibration of this planet has changed, okay, and it is changing, um, and it will continue to speed up. That's why we see all of these changes in society and the world. You know, we're really moving into a new age. It's the age of Aquarius, and Earth is basically, you could say, waking up, right? What does that mean? Well, the Schumann resonance, which is basically the frequency of the planet, was at a very low level, and now it's speeding up. Now, when we look at brain waves, this slow level that the Schumann resonance was at is associated with sleep in our brains. Okay, and now it's speeding up, and it's moving into the realm where the brain is awake. Okay, so you could literally say that the planet is waking up as a collective. The consciousness of this planet, and we're all affected by it, is speeding up, and that's why we're seeing a lot of changes, and uh, we're waking up to a lot of things. You know, we're waking up to what's been hidden before and all this other stuff, right? And at the end of the day, it's going to lead to a new way of being on this planet. It's just what it is. All right. Um, when focusing on an intention, do we really need to have a verbal affirmation going on in our head, or is the feeling the only thing important? Having a verbal affirmation tends to get me distracted. I don't know if I never said these things, at least not like that. I never said that the verbal intention is important. Intention has very little to do with the words. Okay, everything that you think verbally is a consequence, or it's secondary. It comes after the intention. So pure intention is something else. Okay, has not necessarily something to do with words. Thanks. Um, what do you think the teleological purpose of human beings is? Teleological purpose of human beings. Well, to be honest, I think it's more like the whole exists as an epistemological purpose for the most part. Epistemological just means that it's figuring out what knowledge is and figuring out why we think we know what we know. Okay, so teleological. Um, I mean, that would mean like, okay, what is the in the context of of a history of development of, like, let's say, an evolutionary purpose of humans. That's how I would interpret that question here. Teleological purpose of human beings. Okay, so what's the evolutionary purpose of humans, or why did humans develop, or what is the significance of the human stage in the evolutionary development of consciousness? I think it's a great, what's the word? Look, com- consciousness requires vessels. There is consciousness in a single atom, right? But the more complex the structure, the more complex the consciousness um, that can operate through it. Does that make sense? So I mean, humans are definitely not the most complex structure when it comes to consciousness, but it is a very evolved form of structure. Therefore, rather evolved consciousness can come here. So I believe it's a launch pad. It's not the highest form of being a human, absolutely not. But it's one of many forms that you can take on in your evolutionary process. And evolution is a never-ending journey, never stops. So that's my take on that. I really don't know what to answer here. Okay. Would you recommend going through the Kabbalah and angel stuff before moving on to the Goetia? Yes. But Buddhist scriptures reveal a path of peace and letting go of the ego. Obviously, as a magician, that isn't the goal. So I understand there's deeper knowledge in those books that served you. See, this is a very, very common misunderstanding and usually only happens in the West. You know, it's funny that most people in the West, they believe they're so open to other religions and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's just a caricature of what actually goes on. First of all, Buddhism is not as peaceful as of a religion that you might think. Okay, they have a very, very bloody history. Sometimes rivals Christianity in its bloodthirstiness. The different sects are completely at war, and they're completely intolerant in their different factions. Okay, so Buddhism is not as peaceful as you might think. Um, Buddhist scriptures reveal path to peace and letting go of the ego. Well, that's what you hear in the mainstream of some Hollywood celebrities that I don't know, found meditation and now want to spread the word of peace. But having the Dalai Lama is not. Look, the Dalai Lama is the Dalai Lama would justify genocide if he had to. He has done that before. Okay, so look, just because some Hollywood celebrities spread the message of peace or Buddhism is peace here and there. Look, there is definitely a message of peace there, absolutely. But Buddhism is a very complex religion, and you will always find different different approaches to that whole thing. By the way, how can you truly liberate yourself if you can't face the dark? If you can't face um, destructive energies? Okay, so there's definitely something like Buddhist witchcraft. Okay, there's also black magic that is Buddhist, Buddhist, or stems from a Buddhist religion, stems out of a Buddhist context. So it's not that simple. Okay, do you think you will see all of humanity awake in your lifetime? No, no, because look, this is the old. How? How would that happen? Spiritual evolution and spiritual growth is um, is an individual affair. It's something that you have to do by yourself on your own. Okay, it's not that something external can necessarily do that for somebody. So no, this is all bullshit. Don't wait for it. It's like this 2012 bullshit that people were to. Oh, the world's gonna awaken. Do you remember this 2012 bullshit? Because they found a Mayan calendar that ended at 2012. That that was big business. You know, people were thinking that the world's going to end. Other people were like, "Oh, we're going to have paradise afterwards. We're going to awaken to this new life, and then everybody's going to be." You know, David Icke was talking about lions are not going to eat meat anymore because that's not their natural state. You know, it's the reptilians and the elites' fault. The Illuminati made the lions eat flesh. I'm not even fucking kidding right now. Seriously, he was talking about this moon matrix that was creating this strife on Earth, and because of that. Um, animals are at war now, but that's an unnatural state. So lions naturally would never eat gazelles. They wouldn't do that. It's just because of the evil system. That's the type of shit that this guy was saying. I'm not even kidding. And no, nothing happened. You got to understand that this shit is big business. So they might have to find another calendar that ends at 2030. You got 8 guys. You got 8 years to make to make big money. 8 years, 2030. You can make a killing with 8 years. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should discover discover a calendar. So there's a Mayan. I can't do Mayan again. Mayan has been debunked. Hmm. What would work for me? Let's see. Okay, well, let me go back. Well, I think I have exotic roots. I'm just gonna travel to Africa and I'm gonna find this African shaman. And we're just gonna come up with some bullshit. Let's in this cave, we found an ancient wheel, out of zebra bones, and it says this is a calendar. Obviously, it's a calendar, and this ancient culture knew that the world would end in 2030. Behold, behold of this incredible zebra bone calendar, right? Yeah, and I would absolutely, of course, translate what this medicine man has to tell me. Right? He'd be like blah 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 blah. And I'd be like, huh, interesting. Wow, wow, that's profound. That's profound. Blah 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 blah. And of course, he would have all kinds of mystical, mysterious stuff, right? Shrink heads, lion teeth, lion paws. Right? Really, really, whatever. Got to figure out how to do that. Yeah, but people would eat that shit up. You see, people would love that. It's like, yeah, it's it's funny. Lol, yes, never saw it from your perspective. From my perspective, yeah. Do we have some more questions? I'm still in my mind. In my mind, I'm still with talking to this African shaman, this medicine man. That'd be hilarious. David, I got a lot of the stuff from Jordan Maxwell, by the way. A weak body leads to a weak mind. Yeah, I guess so for the most part. I guess there's a strong connection. Weak body, weak mind. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what the ancient Greeks would say, right? A strong body has to live in a strong mind needs to live in a strong body, or healthy mind needs to live in a healthy body. That makes sense. A weak body leads to a weak mind. Yep. Yeah. Speaking of that African shaman, right? I have a my padrino. He's he lives in the Netherlands, right? Padrino is like he basically he's my elder in Santeria and Palo, right? And he often goes to these different conventions, these spiritual conventions, and he wears like this traditional stuff, looks like a real babalao, santero, whatever. And it's crazy how people they just want to hear bullshit. People just want to hear bullshit. They just really eat that up. He lives in the Netherlands, and the Netherlands is very what's the word? It's very secular. Okay, a lot of atheists there. So it's funny how hungry people are for it's like authentic spiritual stuff. He could tell them anything, and they would just eat it up. Like he could. It's funny. It's really funny. Have you become fabulously wealthy through magic? Um, have I become fabulously wealthy? Well, first of all, I'm not fabulously wealthy. I definitely have more money than most people, um, which is not that hard to do. Okay. But most of that came through businesses, you know, it came through businesses, through actual business skills. And then if you got actual skills, you can then use magic to enhance that. Um, you know, it's definitely a bad idea to try to get lottery wins through magic on a constant basis. It's just not reliable. Plus, um, it's just not that much. Get my money magic mastery program, okay? Get my money magic mastery program. If you really want to understand what I'm saying here, uh, you should look at that, okay? Because whatever I'm going to tell you here, it's not going to give you a glimpse of what that actually means. Because you're probably trying to call me out here, basically. Well, why haven't you? Why are you? Why haven't you uh, done whatever? Okay. So I don't know if you're trying to do that here, but the point is, can you use magic to make money? Yeah, 100%. But you have to have some other knowledge on top of that. Okay. And then it's really powerful. And that's what I teach in the Money Magic Mastery program. But I understand that most people will probably not. Um, uh, because most people don't actually want to learn. They don't want to. They don't want to grow. They don't want to put in work, and that's fine. I've accepted that. A good friend of mine told me a long time ago. Listen, I don't think people want to learn. They just want to hear stories. They just want to be entertained, and he's right on the money. He's right. Most people don't want to learn. They want to be entertained, and that's cool. That's fine. Have you ever experienced telepathy with another human being? Like have a normal conversation in that state? Yeah, telepathy doesn't really work like that. It's not like a real conversation. But yes, telepathy I've experienced many, many times. 100%. Are more money magic mastery lessons coming? Yes, of course. 180 altogether. 180 altogether. Um, the grounding technique you once mentioned. If I'm a beginner with magic, and have an e-commerce store that I just started and am not super adept with business yet, will doing rituals to boost sales work at all? Oh, this is like, how am I going to make a judgment like that right now? I'm going to make a judgment like that right now. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what you're capable of doing, and I can't give you an answer here. I can't give you an answer because I don't know you. You know, I'm a beginner in magic and have an e-commerce store that has just started. I'm not super adept with business yet. We're doing rituals to boost sales work at all. I mean, in your position, it probably would make more sense to learn Facebook marketing. Okay, so you should focus on that to increase sales. Um, See, everything is, look, especially when it comes to money, and I teach that in a money magic mastery program as well. People always look for a money printing machine. Okay, now, have you ever looked at a money printing machine and what that looks like? Go to a museum, because nowadays they're not even used that much. Okay, but go to a museum and look at a money printing machine. They're fucking huge. They're heavy. They need a strong foundation, otherwise they will fall through the fucking floor. They need maintenance. They need people to clean them. They need energy and all of this stuff. Okay, so even if I gave you a money printing machine right now, boom, dropped it in your house or wherever you are, you couldn't even use it. And it's the same with money magic. Okay, it's the same with money magic. If you don't have income streams, if you don't have openings for the money to come through, your spells are not going to do that much. You see, so what you guys need is, you don't need, you need money magic spells. Yes, absolutely, you need that. But before that, you need a foundation. You need a solid understanding of what that thing money actually is. Okay, how it works, how it operates. Last year, last year I was doing a whole lot of lectures on that topic. Okay, every Tuesday I was lecturing on either psychic seduction or money magic. Yeah, and you have to understand that subject before you can use magic to enhance it. It's basically, you need the foundation, and without this foundation, you're operating at like 5% of the real capability that money magic really has. You know, it's like, what are you doing? Casting a spell to for $10, $20 to buy you a sandwich and a soda or something like that. Like, the fuck? What is that? Pathetic. You know. What you can use magic for is, you learn about stocks, you learn about how to trade actual commodities or something like that, and then you use astrology to enhance your profits, right? Things like that. V, are you? How old are you, V? Can I ask you how old you are? I hope you're 18 years old. This is only for 18 people above 18. Okay. Uh, the grounding technique you once mentioned, where you imagine a line running through the center of your body, going to infinity up and infinity down, is amazing. I've been using more and more frequently. Thank you. If I'm a beginner with magic, okay, got that one. Will you ever open a store on your website, sell candles and occult items? Yeah, I was thinking about that, but it's not worth the hassle. I don't think it will be. I mean, I don't think it's worth the hassle. I really don't think so. I mean, if I'm going to do something like that, I would do it through. I mean, I would do it for. This is another thing. I mean, effort and profit, or effort and benefit, have to be in a good relation with each other, meaning asymmetric profits, meaning very little effort and a lot of potential profit. And you can do that if you have a huge addressable market. Okay. And when it comes to stuff like that, I don't think the grail of the serpent would be the right site to sell it through. You would have to sell it through some generic stuff, the Santeria store or something like that, the santeriastore.com, where people actually buy candles all the time. Right? Shit like that. And yeah, at that point, a drop shipping store that sells candles makes sense. Absolutely. But then look, I'm this this e-commerce thing is also it's completely overrun. So it's probably not the ideal business model anymore. There are better ones. Okay, there are better ones. Also, organic growth through YouTube and things like that is probably not the best way to do it anymore. I mean, the business that I'm working on right now is I'm working on two right now. I'm working on successsubliminals.net. Okay, Success Subliminals is essentially the software has been created already where it's going to look like this. People come onto the site and they can type in their own affirmations. Then they click a button. Automatically, an MP3 is going to be created where they have a subliminal recording of their own making, right? And it's going to be a subscription website where they pay whatever, $20 a month, and they can create unlimited subliminals for themselves, right? And the good thing is they're creating the content. I don't have to create any content, or like my assistants or whoever, they don't need to create any content because the people using it, they're creating the content. So they get access to the software, unlimited downloads. And the thing is, it's like for every problem that shows up in their life, for every aspect of life, they can create a subliminal for themselves. So whatever, they want to increase their confidence, they want to become better at this, they want to learn a new language, they want to whatever, they can create subliminals for that. And they can highly customized, highly customized. They want Susie to fall in love with them, so they can create a subliminal for that. And it would be foolish of me to try to grow my audience or my people knowing about that stuff organically. Let's say I put up a YouTube channel where I talk about this shit. It doesn't make sense. That makes sense, or an Instagram profile, shit like that. That doesn't make sense at all. What you do at that point is you go through paid advertising. You take a little bit of money, put it into paid advertising, and at that point you have cash flow right away. By the way, all this business stuff that most people are talking about, most people don't have businesses. You have businesses as soon as you have cash flow. Playing business, building a website, creating a logo, that's not business. Fuck that shit. That's pathetic. That's not business. You have cash flow is business. If money comes in, you have a business. Otherwise, you don't have a business. Okay. So playing business and actually having a business, there's a difference. So that's one thing I'm working on, and psychic seduction. And both of these things, psychic seduction that is something completely outside of the grail of the serpent, not associated with black magic, because whether you realize it or not, guys, black magic is actually limiting yourself in your reach quite a bit. This label cancels out 90% of the population. Witchcraft, black magic, boom. 90% of the population are going to freak out and go the other way. Why? Because we have so many psychopaths and weirdos in this fucking field. They're just fucking it up for everybody. You see? Freaks that, I mean, most people in this like black magic field, they're just like sitting on camera looking like fucking freaks, weirdos, talking weird. Like, who can blame people for thinking that people that deal with the occult are just crazy, you know? Um, so the bottom line is, if you want to build a business these days, forget about organic reach. Forget about organic reach. What you do is you put money into the marketing. You have to have a budget, and then you market that. That's how you get to your first I don't know, 5, 6 figure months. That's how you do it. You know. Um, if someone is here for the first time, you need to know Frank is a great teacher and has changed my life. Thank you for saying that. Appreciate it. Uh, how can I quit a bad habit and make a better one to improve my life, like quitting smoking? Hi, man. How are you? First of all, how do you quit smoking? How do you quit? Um, all right. Now, with most things in life, I had a conversation today with my girlfriend earlier today while I was cooking, and how did this start? I think I asked her about what she thought about therapy, right? And she said, "Oh, therapy is so necessary because kids these days, and everybody these days, we're living in such unstable times, and it's hard, and people have no orientation." And I told her I don't believe that. I think therapy is bullshit. I think psychology is a fucking scam, or psychologist, psychotherapy is a fucking scam. Not psychology, but psychotherapy is a fucking scam. It exists to charge people money while they do nothing, while nothing is changing, right? So you're going to be healed once my mansion is paid off, right? That's doctor, Mr. Psychotherapist, psychotherapist. When, when am I going to be healed? Let me check. 3 years from now, that's when my mansion will be paid off. No, what I'm saying is, and then you know what I told her? Um, she said the kids are suffering these days, right? I told her, please Google living conditions of children in the 19th century. And she pulled up a story of uh, a, a girl that in England that basically child labor was legal, right? So she pulled up a story of a girl that was working. She fainted while she was working on a machine. Does a 13-year-old child faint? Well, it must be overworked or malnourished, right? Any of those. And they also mentioned that children had to work just as hard as adults, but they were less protected, right? So there was no way for the kids to, like, adults could at least protect themselves, or I don't know, fight for their right in somewhere or another. But children, there were zero laws that protected children because they didn't have authority at all, right? So coming back to that girl that fainted either out of exhaustion or malnutrition, because it's probably exhausting if you're working just as hard as an adult for 18 hours a day or so. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, she fainted, and as she fainted, her hand got caught in the machine and all her fingers were ripped off. You know what she got? She got fired because she couldn't work that well anymore, right? And this is just one example. This is like exemplary of the living conditions of children in the 19th century. Okay, so I don't think this argument of "Oh, it's so hard these days" is really. It's bullshit. Complete bullshit. I think we have too much time to think about ourselves. That's what it is. That's the problem. Okay, that's the problem. We have too much time to think about ourselves, and leisure time. Everybody, no matter how hard you think you work, you have so much leisure time. Well, how many YouTube videos that have nothing to do with actually accomplishing your goals have you watched these days? I mean, or today, right? How much hard physical labor have you actually done today? I mean, hard physical labor. I'm talking about uh, like hardcore physical labor, where you like your bones hurt. None. You know. So I don't buy this bullshit. I think people are depressed because they have no meaning to their life. You know, like if you have hardship, if you have suffering, then you have meaning. Just basically get out of that suffering, and you don't have time to think about how bad you have it. That's a big problem. If you have time to think about how bad you have it, you don't have it bad. All right. Somebody who has it bad is fucking thinking about how they can get their next meal. Okay, that's somebody who has it bad. You don't have it bad. If you're watching this on any device, you don't have it bad. Okay, this is pathetic. This is just stupid. Seriously, it makes zero sense. So coming back to your question, and why am I mentioning this anyways? You asked me how can I quit a bad habit and make a better one. Here's the thing. Habits are emotional crutches. Okay, so let's say you say you have a smoking habit. That's an emotional crutch. Observe yourself. What happens when you crave cigarettes? In the morning, you have all this negativity, all these thoughts, all these fears, all this uncomfortable feeling coming up. It's rushing towards you. It makes you, it overwhelms you. You're like, oh man, I gotta make this stop. I gotta make this stuff. I gotta make this stop. And then you numb it. You numb it with this rush of dopamine that you get. You numb yourself from reality. That's your problem. You cannot face reality, which is a brutal fucking thing. Reality is harsh. It's a harsh thing, you know? And what you have to do is you need to be comfortable with reality. That's really what it is, okay? The truth. Give me the truth, nothing but the truth. And then you look it dead in the eye. And that's what it is. You know where I learned that? There's so much value in knowing how to fight. It's something that I learned when I was fighting teaches you so much about life, about yourself, about psychology, you know? I was uh I was getting beat up by the instructors or not instructors like in sparring, fighting and stuff like that. You get beat up quite a bit, and when you are in so much pain physically, you learn how to deal with that physical pain. And the biggest lesson that I learned is that if I don't resist the pain, it's not nearly as bad as if I try to not feel it. You see? And this is your problem, my friend. You are trying to avoid feeling uncomfortable. You're trying to avoid feeling pain. That's what it is. Psychological pain. That's what it is. But if you accept the truth that life is pain and only those that are alive can feel pain, then it's not as bad. And on the other side, once you confronted it, on the other side there's a good, everything's okay. You're still alive, everything is fine, and you continue. Okay? Our problem these days is that people are looking for happiness. They believe that happiness is the meaning of life. Happiness is not the meaning of life. You're not here to be happy. Get rid of that fucking idea. That's something that's been sold to you by Sex in the City and Hollywood and shit like that. That's not the goal of life. You're not here to be happy. You're here to be growing, and you can only grow through obstacles. And when you experience the obstacle, it's not comfortable. But once you overcome the obstacle, then you get a moment of happiness. Okay? But see how long that lasts. See how long that lasts. Have you ever thought about the possibility that your mind and your brain are not built to be happy? Have you ever considered the possibility that you are built for survival and procreation and not for happiness? Because for in order to survive, happiness is unnecessary. You need a reward mechanism, absolutely. You need a reward mechanism where it's basically You do something that moves you closer to survival, or that allows you to survive, whatever. You do something that increases your survival, you feel a reward. But what would happen if you were constantly rewarded? If you were constantly being rewarded, you wouldn't do anything anymore. The species would start to die off because there would be no motivation anymore. That which motivates you is the suffering. That which motivates you to that which makes you do more, work more, move and create is suffering. In art, the most beautiful pieces of art were the result of suffering of the person. Okay, suffering is the essence of art. It's the birth of art. It all comes out of suffering. All right. What happens to the species if you're constantly being rewarded? Constantly reward. There's degeneration and eventually decay. Okay, and that's what we're seeing in our society, by the way. Okay, just so you know. That's what we're seeing in the Western world. Okay, the West is decaying completely. Right, the first world we're constantly we reward ourselves with video clips. We reward ourselves with sugar. We reward ourselves with consumption everywhere. And what's happening? Decay. Boom. When you do this to a rat, what you can do is you can do an experiment. Okay, you give the rat in the cage, you hook the brain of the rat up with something that triggers dopamine, and the trigger of dopamine is created as soon as as soon as the rat presses a button. Okay, so what is the rat going to do? And that's real science. That's actual experiments that they did. The rat is just going to keep pressing that button. It forgets to eat. It forgets to create. It forgets to survive in any way, shape, or form. And it actually starves and dies. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't do anything. It just presses that button. Reward, and then it's gone. You see. So that's what's going on with you. You have it too easy, my friend. That's your problem. You have it too easy, and you're not willing to face life. That's your problem. So what you're doing is you choose numbing yourself over reality. So it's not about quitting a bad habit. It has it's way deeper than that. You are refusing to experience life. That's what's going on. And any person that chooses to, what's the word, to numb themselves, to intoxicate themselves on a regular basis is exactly doing that. You refuse to experience life as it is supposed to be experienced. We're not supposed to be happy, my friends. That's not the purpose of life. That's not how we're supposed to live. And wow, it's such an anomaly in history that we even have the luxury to contemplate that. Your grandmother did not think about that shit, for sure. Your grandfather did not think about that shit, for sure. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I hope that helps. Okay. So true, we live in the most exciting and best time so far. Yes. Man, listening to you makes me want to get off my ass and go endure some hardships. Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Go get a cold shower every morning and do 50 push-ups and whatever. Do something, do something. And you know, and we need context more than anything, man. We need context. We need to know where we are, and then how do we even compare things? Because people are so There's no context. There's literally no context. You have it bad compared to who? Compared to what? Guess. Let me guess. You have it bad compared to that Instagram celebrity that just was showing off whatever their mansion or their like $50 million on a table or something like that. Yeah, compared to, see, you need to choose your contrast too. Okay, if you compare yourself to a fake reality that has nothing to do with actually real life, then yeah, of course, the contrast is going to be messed up. So who are you comparing yourself to? Where is your contrast? And do you actually believe what you see on social media is real? Of course not. Somebody removed their comment. Okay. Well, okay, thanks, really helped. That's good. Yeah, we definitely need context. Okay, guys. Questions are dying down. I hope you got something out of this. Tomorrow, and I'm going to post a video that announces them, of course. Tomorrow, we're going to have a new lecture, and it's going to be about money magic because I'm lecturing every Tuesday, lecturing on money magic or psychic seduction. You definitely want to watch the. You definitely want to be there. The replays can be watched on the forum. Okay. Uh, and yeah, just wait for the video. It's probably going to be around 2 p.m. PST tomorrow. If you can make it, you're welcome to join. And I'll talk to you soon. Be well. Bye bye.